Hello and you're welcome to Business Highlights on Trust TV, where we will be taking you on an analytical look at some of the biggest economic and business developments that occurred during the week. I'm your host, Chamun Dabeng. Let's talk numbers. We're opening the show with the stock market report. Now, buy-side activity strengthened across key sectors on the bourse, which helped Nigeria's stock market increase by 0.73% in the trading week ended Friday, September 2nd. However, the record-breaking rally in consumer goods, industrial stocks, and banking stocks were also significant contributors to the positive record. The market recorded 3 days of positive closing prices versus 2 days of losses during the review trading week. Investors made over 197 billion naira as a result, and the market's positive year-to-date return increased to 17.16%. The market has increased by 0.42% year-to-date, despite an earlier drawback in market sentiment that was observed. The month started off positively. The market all-share index, ASI, and capitalization increased from the previous weekend when both indicators were at 49,682.15 points and 26.796 trillion naira respectively to 50,045.83 points and 26.993 trillion naira respectively. The NGX 30 index, which tracks the performance of the 30 most capitalized stocks on exchange, up by 0.69% in the review trading week, while the NGX consumer goods rose the most by 2.01%. The top three gainers for Friday were FCMB, Stanbic, eTransact, and they were up by 9.06, 6.45, and 6% respectively. And for the top three losers, we have McNichols, RT, Briscoe, and Chams, and they were down by 9.46, 8.57, and 7.14% respectively. The discussion begins right after the break. The issue of vandalism is a major thorn in the spine of Nigeria's economic development as the country continues to lose trillions of naira, as important infrastructure like pipelines, electricity assets, telecom masts, railways are either destroyed or vital parts are stolen. My name is Chamun Dabeng, and you're welcome back to Business Highlights on Trust TV. Now, joining me to have this discussion on vandalism, which is one of the biggest obstacles to economic growth, is security expert Stephen Okori and economist Aliyu Ilyas. You're both highly welcome to the show. Absolutely wonderful to have you both here. Now, I would like to know what your perspective on the matter is. Now, what do you think? I would like you both to speak on your respective fields. Of course, you as a security expert and you as an economist. How has this affected economic growth within the country? Mr. Aliyu, let me start off with you.
All right, thank you for having me. First and foremost, when you talk about economics and the impact of vandalism or oil thefts, as it were, on Nigeria economy, it's a very big issue because the mainstay of Nigeria economy is oil. Because as we know that 96% of Nigerian foreign earnings is virtually from oil and gas sector, and also it contributed about 40% to the earnings of Nigeria. So if you look at all this, it's a very big issue that Nigeria need to tackle very well. However, we are expected to have about 9 trillion revenue from oil and gas sector this year, but with what is happening now, vandalism and oil theft, you cannot achieve that. Let's just look at it basically. From January to April, we are expected to have 3.2 trillion. Now we could not meet up that. We only have 1.2 trillion. That's about 39% loss. It's a big issue. It will affect infrastructure, affect recurrent expenditure, affect even purchasing power of the Nigerian citizens. So it's a big issue that Nigeria needs to tackle now like never before. Yeah, of course, there are different sectors this is of course going to touch, but you know, we do need to think about the SMEs. What now becomes of them? Now, if you look at SMEs, the fact just remains that, you know, when we talk about economies and the money that is available, the more the money is available, the more SME will be able to do a lot of things. And perhaps when we say SME, they are even much more in need of this little disposal, because government have some facility where they even give some helps to this SME. It's a big issue. And more so, if you look at Nigeria inflation rate, look at that. Government want to reduce money in the circulation. Government want to reduce its spending. And who does that affect? It affects the MSME and translates to the Nigerian consumers, as it were. All right, coming to you, Mr. Stephen, now from your own expertise, what do you think about the situation? How does this affect local content development in the country?
Yeah, thank you for inviting me. First and foremost, in order for the country to see how to safeguard this critical infrastructure we are talking about, there is need for the relevant security agencies to sit up by putting the necessary mechanisms or framework together to see how to protect this critical infrastructure, especially the pipeline that is our focus today. You know, you and I know that vandalism is a conscious and deliberate act by people that carry out those criminal activities. You know, you discover that recently the NNPC even came up to say that the security agencies discovered about 344 illegal reservoirs, about 355 cooking pots, you know, about 450 boats, you know, and about 37 trucks that these criminal elements use in carrying out this nefarious activity, you know. And all this, you know, that as they tamper with the pipeline to do all this, it affects the mainstay, which is the oil that Nigeria derives a huge revenue from, you know. So security anywhere in the world is not cheap. I expect that the government should put out the necessary mechanisms and to see how to empower the security agencies to be able to protect the infrastructure.
All right, so still on the issue of theft within the oil sector.
Yeah.
Now, there's been a lot of allegations coming from different players and stakeholders in the industry saying that a majority of these people who are perpetrating these crimes are actually major stakeholders themselves.
Very well.
They're, should I say, big people in society. They're also part of the security systems themselves. Now, what becomes of that sector when we have people who are supposed to be responsible for protecting it who are also guilty?
You see, it's very unfortunate for me to say here that in every society and in every organization there are bad eggs. You know, the rats, permit me to use the word, the rats that they arrest in carrying out this act, they are just in the forefront trying to do this for the big names. You know, we have elites that are behind this vandalism and illegal bunkering or oil theft that we're talking about here. We have even workers, the NNPC workers, you know, even oil companies workers themselves, they are also involved. It will shock you to know that even the security agencies are also involved in this theft we are talking about, you know. So it behoves on the government and the security agencies to be able to fish out, you know, these criminal elements amongst them that embark on this kind of act that is affecting the economy.
All right, Mr. Ali, what do you think this means for the Nigerian economy?
Now, if you look at it very well, according to Mele Kyari, the MD of NNPC, he actually said that 400,000 barrel of oil has been lost to this very situation. And if you translate that, and that's translated to about 1.9 billion US dollars, bringing that to Nigerian naira, that's about 804 billion naira, about a trillion. That's a very serious issue. And if you look at the effect on the economy, it's just coming up, and that's the problem now, because if you cannot produce, if you cannot meet up, perhaps we are not even meeting up the quota system, the quota, the one that is given to us. Like for now, we have about 1.9 barrel per day given to us, but we could only do 1.4. That's a very big issue. Let me also chronicle what has happened in the past. January to April, we are giving about 1.4 trillion to 5.4 million barrel per day. We could only do 1.084. That means we are losing about 315 barrel. If you cumulate that together, it's about 28 million barrel. So converting that to money, you see that Nigeria is actually trading off a lot, because if our budget is budgeted, you know, is an expected income, and if expected income of 9 trillion is being having issue at this point in time, simply means that going forward we are going to have a very serious issue. Even if you look at the midterm report by the Minister of Finance, she also said that they are in serious issue. So now revenue problem is a problem in Nigeria, and it has to be tackled very well, because if our 96% foreign earnings is not there again, 40% income is not there again, it then means we are only left behind for other source of income, and that's why government is looking at taxing the telecom and other sector of the economy. All
right, so now that you've brought this up, let's take a look at some facts and figures, and we're going to be starting off with, of course, oil bunkering. The oil sector, pardon me. Yes, so a total of 1,161 pipeline points were vandalized across Nigeria in the 21 months between January 2019 and September 2020. In its July 2021 audit report, the Nigeria Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative, NIETI, said Nigeria lost 42.25 million barrels of crude oil to oil theft, and that's valued at $2.77 billion, and that's in 2019. Now, due to crude oil theft, Nigeria lost a staggering $1 billion in revenue in the first quarter of 2022, endangering the economy of Nigeria's economy. Continued increase in theft and pipeline vandalism estimated to have gulped 73 million barrels a year. Nigeria's extractive Transparency Initiative oil and gas industry reports revealed that over 270 million of Nigeria's commercial crude oil production was lost to theft and sabotage between 2016 and 2020, and oil bunkering has caused the production level to reduce, like Mr. Aliyu said, by 400,000 barrels per day, and translating to a drop from 1.8 million to 1.4 million barrels per day. Now, coming to you, Stephen, what do you think about these figures?
Yeah, the figures is it's alarming, you know, looking at it. But my own interest in what you have just read out is the area of trying to see how to protect our pipelines, you know, from being vandalized, you know, because we have seen the problem, you know. So we should be looking out for workable security solutions to see how to stop this illegal oil bunkering and vandalization of our pipelines, you know. And for me, I think that the security agency should go further by trying to see how to bring technology on board. It's not about the physical security alone, you know. We're in the 21st century, and I expect that at this point in time, the use of technology, you know, like video surveillance, monitor, camera can be used to see how to monitor, you know, the crude oil from the wells to the flow stations within the Niger Delta region, you know. And even the unmanned aerial vehicle, also known as drones, can also be used to see how to monitor all this, you know. But we're not even in that direction, you know. So I think it behoves on the NNPC, you know, and the government and the relevant security agencies, especially the Navy, because it falls within their purview to see how to protect and safeguard our pipelines.
Well, there is a lot as far as security and surveillance is concerned that the country is yet to explore. But speaking about surveillance and protection of Nigeria's pipelines, we do know that there is the controversial Tompolo contract that is sitting out there. And I would like to know both your perspectives on this issue. What do you think? Many Nigerians out there have come out to protest the fact that this contract was given to somebody who is an ex-militant. Now, what do you think? Let me start off with you, Mr. Aliyu, actually.
All right, thank you for asking me. Anyway, if you look at the loss of oil theft, it's beyond the financial analysis that we're looking at. First and foremost, most oil and gas companies shut down in that area. Secondly, we have environmental pollution, which is a very big issue. If you go to that area, you see black soot and other problems. Another thing is that there could be fire incidents. We have seen it over time and a whole lot of things. So giving it to Tompolo, I think, well, if you ask me, I think there was an attempt to take it from me, but it's boomerang, so to speak. Because if you look at the analysis, it was said that about 200-kilometer pipeline is being vandalized about 295 points. Do you know that the implication of that? It simply means it's beyond what even one security agency can handle. It has to do with a stakeholder. And when we say stakeholder here, it simply means NNPC itself. It simply means the oil producer itself, the community itself, the security agencies, and even a common Nigerians that we need to look. So giving it to Tompolo, if that will secure and bring the economy to normalcy, I think it's fine. It does not matter how you secure, because governments have the responsibility of safeguarding Nigerians and the properties. So now, if you say you give it to Tompolo, who cares? The thing is it safeguard? Do we have a good economy? Because the the effect, the ripple effect, the multiplier effect of it is what we are looking at. Nigeria will suffer and there will be nothing to fall back to. Perhaps the another fear we are having is that by next year budget, we may have zero, budget itself. That everything will be budgeted by deficit if we don't do anything urgently to really control and curtail this oil pipe vandalism and oil theft. It's a big issue that we need to look at. Perhaps we can also go outside Nigeria and look at other way of protecting these pipelines.
All right, coming back to you now, Mr. Stephen, what do you think about the Tompolo contract? They say that in order to catch a thief, you have to think like a thief. Is this giving that security, the security of the pipelines, an edge, considering that we're dealing with an ex-militant?
Yeah, for me, I think that solution should be the order of the day, trying to see how to work out solutions to the menace or the challenges. Before now, I was made to understand that this same contract was awarded to a company that Tompolo has interest in during the era or the period of Goodluck Jonathan. When this present government under Buhari came on board, they revoked the contract and all that. I think they have gone to sit down to look at it critically and discover that since the Tompolo guy and the other militants, ex-militants within the Niger Delta region have reasonable knowledge about what happens within the creeks and all that, I think that that now made them to have a second thought by bringing the company on board to see how to police these pipelines we are talking about. The fact of the matter is that these pipelines are in their various local communities. They pass through these local communities, and I am an advocate of local policing. For instance, vigilante. I think that the role or the duties that Tompolo and the company wants to play here is to see how to locally police this or protect these pipelines that passes through all these local communities within the Niger Delta region. The Navy cannot do it alone. So what I think is that there will be a collaboration between the company that has been awarded this contract to see how to protect these pipelines with the Navy to see how to, they must definitely work together. So for me, it's not a bad idea. It's a welcome development. And just the way you said, in order to catch a thief, you need to
think like a thief. All right, we'll go on a short break, and when we get back, we're going to continue to explore the Tompolo contract a little bit before we move on to other aspects of our discussion. Don't go anywhere. You're welcome back to Business Highlights on Trust TV. Once again, my name is Chamun Dabeng, and I'm here with economist Aliu Ilyas and security expert Stephen Okori. And we're currently taking a look at vandalism in Nigeria, which has caused the country to lose trillions of naira. Before we went on the break, we were talking about the controversial Tompolo contract. Now, so far, there's been a lot of reactions to this development. You have some Arewa youths that are coming out to protest. There are things coming up from militants within the Niger Delta region themselves. Do you really think that this is going to play out the way that the government is expecting it to?
All right, yes, looking at that, if you look at basically AKK project, I don't know if you follow AKK project, is those pipeline that has been from Kogi down to Kano, Kaduna. Yeah. If you look at that, so it's susceptible to people as well. So if you now carry out this without looking at the holistic effect of it, it's the issue. Let's look at it from basic economics itself. A drum that we have in our common home is what we call a barrel of what? Of petroleum. 400,000 of it being taken away. That means there's a serious collaborator. That's like what Mr. Stephen said. The best bet is to go ahead to use technology, whereby you can be in your office and you can monitor what is going on the, if not, this will continue. And like you said, it will bring other people out as well that yes, they should also give us this kind of thing. Perhaps we could we cannot zero Tompolo. He could have he must have invested in technology to also use. Perhaps he must have the language to speak to these people. You know, these are the things. We are only talking about it because of the, you know, his antecedents. You know, the way the agitation that come before it was awarded to him. And perhaps since we have started it, government need to continue to do it so that Nigeria will not suffer economic loss. So we are much more concerned about economic loss because there is a basic Pareto analysis that said people that are better off, if there are more than people that are worse off, please go ahead with that application and let people be better. So we want to be better off in this case.
Or like you said, security and solution is the order of the day. It's about finding a solution to the problems that we have today. Now, I would like to ask, the PIA, of course, was established to sort of curtail some of the problems that we have. Now, we have a certain percentage that is being given to these host communities. I believe about 3%. There's been a bit of a tussle, 3%, 5%. The host communities, they want 10% and all of that. But looking at this tussle between and betwixt, do you really think that this is going to help in order to, you know, bring some sort of a solution again to the situation that we're in?
You see, it's unfortunate that even if they increase the percentage from that 3% to let's say 10, I am interested in how it will, you know, change the lives of the community down there in the Niger Delta region. They've been taking about 13% derivation of even the allocation and all that. Are we seeing the effect there within the communities? You see, that's the problem. We are taking this discussion now down to a level of corruption now, you know, because corruption is one of the things that is killing us here in the country, you know. So they have a Niger Delta NDDC, what do you call it, commission.
Yes.
There's a Ministry of Niger Delta Affairs. There's amnesty, whatever, for all this is to cushion the challenges that the Niger Delta communities and their people are encountering, you know. But are we seeing the effect? Even amongst them, these agencies and all that are headed by their people. They take these monies, I'm sorry to say, to their personal pockets. So whether they increase what is in the PIA from 3% to 10%, the fact of the matter is that if it's judiciously used and applied within their communities, we will see results. But are we going to see that at the end of the day? Do they have that integrity to see that that percentage that comes is judiciously used for the benefit of the members of the community or the community itself? That's the question. So it's not about the percentage for me. It's about using, no matter how small or big, the percentage. They should use it judiciously.
Of course, the whole essence of even the percentage was to give these host communities a sense of ownership.
Right.
What do you think? Do you agree with what Mr. Stephen has said?
The fact means that speaking to PIA bill itself, it is the effect you are seeing. Do you know why? Now, NNPC is now a limited company. Now, being a limited company, shareholders want to know how much barrel of crude oil is being exported, how much is being, you know, these are the problems. So now they are not putting eyes into all those things. That's why we are discovering 400,000 thefts itself. So now I think PIA, it's a very good one, and I think it's just unleashing. We are going to see more because there is more interest in it. It's beyond before that it's a government thing, and let us just covers it. So even you can see that Mele Kyari has to come out and cry out alongside Timothy Silva, the Minister of State, because they discover that now the accountability is now the order of the day. You must account for what you get, how you get it, where it goes.
Exactly.
Even the supply chain process is being checked now because people are interested. So, and you can see that the unbundling is now showing up, is giving us much more options to choose from. If stakeholder of NNPC choose to do business with Tompolo and they are making their profit, it's a good one for them. Our own is that let the revenue that we're expecting from this, let us see it, and let Nigeria be better off for it. That's just the expectation. All
right, so my last question, of course. Now, based on research that I had carried out, majority of these perpetrators, the ones that were caught, are usually, of course, male, Okay, let me not say of course. It sounded quite...
No, you are looking... Balance the gender. Please, balance the gender, please.
Well, majority of the perpetrators were male, and they were in a specific age group, so they were in their 18s and, early 20s. What can be done to, bring about some reduction? Why is it so specific to this age group?
Yeah, the amnesty, I want to get that name correctly. This
is amnesty.
Amnesty.
Yes, no, it's amnesty.
They should be. They went as far as carrying these young boys out of the country to see how to train them in different skills and acquisition and all that. It's not over. They should harness these boys that are being sent, because for me, these boys are being sent to carry out this.
They have a lot of information that the country could use.
Exactly. So they are being sent to carry out this nefarious activity. So they can harness them, train them into different, to learn different skills, even possibly go to schools, higher schools and all that, to acquire education. By then they need to be aware that what they are doing is wrong. It's affecting the country. It's affecting the country's economy and all that. Perhaps they are not even aware of that. Theirs is just to go for that errand and come back, and at the end of the day, their paymasters give them peanuts for going to carry out such acts. So they need to be aware. There's a lot that the government needs to do, especially through that amnesty program. To see how to quell situations.
All right, Mr. Aliyu.
Yes, but all theft itself goes beyond age category.
Yes.
It's cut across all age, and because someone who is actually scooping it is scooping it to a drum, and somebody is taking the drum. So it's a network of people. Exactly. So if you are looking at maybe creating amnesty, I think we are overshooting by creating amnesty. Right, we have 33.3% unemployment in Nigeria. It does not lies on that sector area only. It cut across the whole Nigeria, and because if you continue to say because you are stealing, let's compensate you with free education, let's compensate you, what will other people also say? And because we must look at
and what next after the education.
Perhaps look at other community, other youth. People are looking at what is happening and they want to bank on what you do for one side. You must balance at the other side. So let's tackle unemployment in Nigeria generally, and let's face vandalism and oil theft.
All right, that being said, we all have a responsibility to protect our assets. If we destroy them, we're shortchanging ourselves at the end of the day. Well, we have come to the end of our show for today, and I would like to thank my guests in the studio. Thank you so much, Mr. Stephen, and thank you so much, Mr. Aliyu, for being a part of the show. And to our viewers out there, thank you so much for watching. Well, my name is Chamun Dabeng. Please come back again. Let's talk numbers.